I'm about to show you how to go from having your GLIDECAM in the box, your GLIDECAM HD2000 in this case, to having it all balanced and set up on your camera. So let's go. So first you got your base plates, next you got your shaft, the middle part, your top plate, and your weights, and the screws to put the weights in. You got your instructions, but I'm going to teach you how to do it now. So let's get our screws out. Very nice, and our weights out. Okay, let's assemble this thing. So first we're going to put our shaft, screw it onto the top plate. Simple enough. Same thing with the bottom plates. Now we're going to put our weights on the bottom, and depending on how heavy your camera setup will depend on how many weights you're going to put on the bottom. Without really knowing at first, you're just going to kind of guess, because you have to balance it and check the weight to be able to know how much weights to put on. I personally like to put on more weights because the heavier it is, I feel the easier it is to keep balanced and keep smooth shots, especially when it gets windy outside. So here I'm putting on the screws on the bottom, and now I'm just gonna put 3 weights on each side for now. And then you're gonna grab your little nuts here, or your bolts. And so here you have your GLIDECAM all assembled. Now it's time to put the camera on. Now you can put the camera directly on the plate like this. I personally like to use a mp4 release plate. These quick release plates allow you to attach a plate onto your camera so that you can quickly take it on and off, and this allows you to then hook it up to your mp4 tripod, so you can go from GLIDECAM to tripod very quickly and easily. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this plate onto and the setup I'm going to be balancing today is the Mark III, Canon 5D Mark III with a 16 to 35 millimeter lens. Got it nice and tight. Now with the GLIDECAM comes this little screw, which is to put in the bottom of your camera to screw into your plate, or in this case it's to put your quick release plate on. So in order to get that on, you take your plate here and you have 4 knobs. You have 1 on each corner here. You're just going to loosen each of these knobs here, and then your plate should pop right off, just like that. So once you have your plate out like this, I get asked a lot, which hole do I put my camera or my plate in? Basically, you want to have this as centered as possible, assuming that your camera is pretty center weighted. So I'm going to stick this in the 4 down in the middle. So now that's in there. I'm going to tighten it up real quick. Now we're going to put this guy back on. Tighten up my screws on the end. And my plate is loose right here on top, and that's going to happen if your bolt isn't tight enough. And so what I'm actually going to do is I am going to use one of those washers for this guy to keep that on there a little bit tighter. So I'm going to take this bottom guy off. So now I got my washer in between. It's going to help my plate from sliding around. Now we're going to put this guy back on. And now we're going to pop our camera on here, and these quick release plates, you just slide it on in like so, and then you lock down on the bottom here. And a lot of times with these quick release plates, you'll try and lock it and it's still loose like this. So what you got to do, and I didn't know this for a long time actually, but you got to pull out this quick release button like that, and that allows you to rotate it front or back to make it looser or tighter. So that's about right. It's a little bit too tight still, but at least it's tight. It's better to be too tight than too loose, because now your camera's not going to fall off. We now have our camera on to our GLIDECAM.